Okay.
All
Oh,
right, we're live.
are we live?
That's what it says on my end.
Live
I,
on Facebook.
I
Very
don't.
cool. Well, I guess we're live on Facebook. I don't know. This is the first time I've ever done this. And what I'm seeing on my screen might look a little bit different, but yeah, let's just roll with it. So, hi, my community, Morning Light Show community. It's been a while since I've done an interview like this, but Michael has definitely been on the Morning Light Show before. He is a good friend of mine and also a change agent, a leader in the space of facilitating conversations and coaching, both inside of organizations. And we do work together as part of the exchange community. And just all around amazing guy, also author of the book Changes. Okay, let's see if I can remember this. A busy professional's guide to, what's the first part?
Reducing stress.
Reducing stress, achieving goals,
Yep, accomplishing
and
goals.
accomplishing goals, and something else.
The most important thing we all need right now.
Sanity.
Mastering adaptability.
Mastering adaptability. That's so great. And I have the physical copy of your Changes card deck. I don't have your book here with me today, but that's what the cover looks like. And we'll be sure to put a link into the Facebook stream as well. And Michael and I are just going to be talking about specifically about having conversations that are actually meaningful right now. Because a lot of us, especially in the midst of all of this, are relying on digital conversations. And this has been a big tool in my toolbox over the last few weeks with different communities that I've been leading. And so I wanted you to come on and talk about this card deck. And I thought we would start by me just asking you, how are you? And what the heck have you been up to for the last few weeks amidst all this craziness?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Been doing a lot of work with you.
It's true.
And been doing a lot of work together, which has been so nice. I so appreciate it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the work that's going on right now, as everybody knows, is online and facilitating small and large groups online. And I know, Adair, we've been learning a ton about how to do that effectively and how to mess it up.
Oh yeah. So true.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing? Okay, I just have to ask you this before what's the craziest thing that you've seen on a Zoom call so far?
Well, if people haven't seen it yet, the Zoom bloopers that are out there. I mean, the craziest thing I've seen has been those, not on my own call.
Oh, not on your actual own call.
People like taking the computer into the bathroom and pulling their pants down, and the people are like yelling at them, telling them to turn their video off. Have you seen those bloopers before?
I haven't really seen many of them, but I think I just asked you that question because I wanted to answer it.
Oh, okay. What? Yeah, you tell me.
I can't remember if you were on this call with me, but we've seen lots of kids and dogs and cats, especially the cats, right up in the camera, because cats love to do that. But were you on the call where we had someone with their parrot on the Zoom?
Maybe I remember talking about it, so I can't remember.
So that was a new one for me. I mean, just this beautiful white parrot like showing up in this woman's lap and hanging out. And anyway,
that's cool. That's
probably the craziest thing that I've seen. But lots and lots of Zoom. I'm very grateful for Zoom right now.
Yeah, really. And I'm kind of wondering, like, are people reaching their saturation point with Zoom meetings? Because there's a lot of ways to make
crazy. Is that why I'm cranky?
Well, I think for me, like, there's definitely a saturation about screen time because we've been spending so much time on the screen. But I think fortunately for us, like typically the meetings that we're engaged with are super interactive. And people are actually doing things with each other, and they're not just listening. And so I think that for a lot of folks, though, it's that kind of meeting that they're into, where it's distracting, it's people talking over each other, or it's one way consuming of information, which is even more draining. So I think thankfully for us, we've got this method that we use, this exchange method that's so helpful. But it'd be interesting, I think, for folks that are watching this, like, what have you seen that have been like really, really great wins or great practices to ensure success in this virtual platform?
Yeah,
And
I
then
love
maybe I
that.
could also answer that question. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can just pop questions into the chat. I'm gonna check in over here. I see Mark
Oh,
Schwager
cool.
on there. Oh, he just did a Wim Hof ice bath challenge with 25 dudes on Zoom. That
Whoa,
is
I love
pretty
it.
awesome. I
That's super
might have
cool.
to steal that idea, Mark. That is totally badass. I love that.
That's
That's
great.
pretty
I love it.
awesome. Yeah, I think people are getting pretty innovative of, the types of things and conversations that they're having with people on Zoom. Let's tell everybody a little bit more about Exchange.
Sure.
I know we take it for granted because it's the work that we're immersed in every single day, but I'll let you share whatever you want to share, and then if I have anything else to
Cool.
add, I'll jump in.
Yeah, and I'll say for folks that are listening, at the end of this, we're going to give you a gift. So if you stay to the end,
Yes,
you'll
we
get a
are.
gift. So stay to the end, and it'll be absolutely relevant to you running and participating in Zoom meetings in a way that you haven't yet done. So just hang on for that. So yeah, so the exchange method for me is it's this up-leveled operating system for creating super high levels of engagement in any group, virtual or in person, and it's a way to solve problems, virtual and in person. And so I've been leading groups for years and years and years in all sorts of contexts. And I haven't seen a method that's so effective, again, in those two areas, in an area that, the area of creating connection with people. And the second piece is the problem solving ability that it enables, which right now, like those are the two ingredients that we need to be successful, right? Everybody's got, massive challenges. And so to be able to connect and come to solutions is needed. And then everybody is distant from each other. So the other necessary thing we have right now is more human connection in the midst of this distancing. And so that's the short way I would summarize it. How
Yeah,
about you, Adair?
that's
What comes to mind for
no,
you?
that's beautiful. I love that. And I just for me, and again, I've been doing this work really seriously for the last year, but like you have led groups for many years and been a teacher and coach and facilitator for years. And I agree, it's like an operating system for bringing out the best in people and cultivating what we call collective wisdom. And now that is needed more than ever because in so many ways, I feel like at first in the, beginning parts of this crisis, we were kind of like, oh my gosh, what's the government going to do? What's our boss going to do? What's somebody else going to do? Like, and we're just kind of waiting for somebody to like do something or fix something. And yeah, there've been some attempts at that with these big government loans and whatever else might be going on. However, what I'm noticing is we're starting to see a lot of those big systems fail and really have to bubble up things from the masses. And that's what our methodology is absolutely best at, is bringing out the best in people through generative conversations and through asking questions. So, Michael,
Love
why
it.
don't you give everybody an idea of when we lead one of these exchange virtual events that we're used to doing in person, what that typically looks like?
Yeah, yeah. How it looks like online or how it looks like in person or either.
Yeah, just in online, I think is more relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'll preface what I'm about to say with a invitation to anybody that's watching this, which is ask any question you want about how to be more effective in online meetings or how to make online meetings more fun and interesting and solution oriented. So
Love
anybody
it.
that has a question around how to make online meetings better, drop a question in the chat and we'll get to you. So in regards to the methodology, I think it really starts with the right question. And, I think that the vulnerability around questions right now is at its highest, meaning that in times of crisis, I think as human beings, we inherently lean towards kind of protectiveness, right? And that's a biological response. Like there's uncertainty and there's fear and there's some chaos. And so protectiveness is a natural instinct.
Yeah.
And so with that, the dialogue or the questions we might ask are around the problems. They're around, well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? Or, there's no money or there's potential job loss, or what if I get the virus, so there's a lot of protective oriented questions that we might lean into naturally. So the invitation first is to ignore some of that instinct and instead lead with a question that is more opportunistic or life-giving or imaginative around what could be. Right. Another question to lean into is around resilience. So how have we had an experience in the past that we were able to push through in a way that we didn't think we could, given the circumstance prior, which reminds us that we're going to be able to push through this. So anyway, questions around resilience, questions around hope, and around possibility, to me, are what we should be starting with. So I'll kick it to you though. What stands out to you, Adair, as far as the process goes?
Yeah. So I love what you're saying. It is all about the questions that we ask and how we set those up. And as you were saying, the whole like, what if things, I'm like, God, you know what? I really have been in the mode of like, what if this way more than I normally am. And I think you're right. Thank you for the reminder that in a time of uncertainty, the brain is scanning for certainty anywhere and naturally is going to go to the place of survival and doom and gloom. So the space that we provide when we get everybody into these Zoom rooms is we ask questions that are probably way different than what they're hearing from most people. And then we usually give everybody time to reflect. So everybody gets out their pen, everybody has something to write with. This is really different from a webinar where you're just sitting there waiting, for somebody to tell you whatever information they're going to share. And then we put everybody into breakout groups, into small group conversations. And that has been really eye-opening for me, because from doing this work in person where you do a lot of small group interaction, I wasn't sure like what's going to happen when we like teleport these people out of the Zoom room into these smaller breakouts. And if you haven't been into a breakout room and don't know what I'm talking about, you start in a big room with everybody and then literally push a button and you get grouped randomly, or the host can assign groups as well, into like rooms with like 3 or 4 people. And then you share the answer to your question. And so what you have is you have 3 or 4 people sharing stories of resilience, sharing stories of when humanity was at its best, sharing stories about, hey, what from this time do you see as a silver lining that you hope you continue after this time is over? And then you bring everybody back and share those answers and follow that rhythm, usually 2 or 3 times on a call, of put the question, reflect, put everybody into a room, and then bring everybody back. And I'm curious to know, Michael, from doing that process several times, what has been your biggest takeaway and learning?
Yeah. I've been like, I guess heartwarmed would be the way to say it, around how much people appreciate the time to connect generatively and positively with one another.
Yeah.
Right. They're able to share these kind of deep experiences of resilience, of hope, of what's to come, of opportunity, of vision for the future. And people just are floored by that. And I think, as you're hearing this, for folks that are listening, it might sound like a simple activity. And again, I think part of the reason people are so moved by it is because of the current time that we're in, right? People are in this protective mode and they're in this what if mode and doom and gloom, like you said. And so I think it's a key ingredient for success, whether you're leading, a business meeting, a strategic planning meeting, an industry gathering, or like a family dinner. To lead with a question around resiliency, hope, or, again, humanity at its best, like Adair said. And so I think, I think that's absolutely what's needed. And that's what we're hearing from people as what's most impactful for them, being able to connect with each other and share these great stories. And so that's been the piece that stands out to me, is just hearing how much people appreciate it.
Yeah, agreed. How about you? And same. And it's a lot around connection. And I also don't want to leave out a part of our calls, which is around crowdsourcing wisdom. So another activity that we do, aside from, generative questions and then putting people in the group to have conversations, is we actually have them brainstorm on a particular, either a dilemma that's particular to the group that we're in, and then go into the group and share ideas and come up with more ideas to present back to the group. Or we do what we call wisdom or solution circles, where everybody comes up with whatever their unique dilemma or problem or struggle is. And then they have some time between 5 and 10 minutes to present that to a small group of people in a breakout room, and then get their questions and feedback and insights and stories and experiences on whatever that dilemma is. So, out of those types of activities, there actually comes like a list of tangible things that people can move forward with. So when you said, this method helps people solve problems, that's the solving problems. So you've really addressed the two areas that are needed for whole person and whole system change, which is the inner and the outer world.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And it applies to so many systems. I mean, like Adair and I are working on a few projects, and they're a couple different industries, very different from each other, very different projects, but they have consumers and they have clients and people in their ecosystem that they're gathering more or less to come up with solutions. So that's one application, but you could apply this to a family system. You could apply it to a team of people, right? You could apply it to a conference.
Yeah.
And so there's all sorts of, really, really cool applications. So that's another exciting part for me.
Yeah, it's awesome. And what we do with Exchange Around Questions is very tied to the book that you wrote, and then this awesome card deck that you created. And I don't even remember when we connected last year for me to be like, you have to do this exchange training, like you are made for this or whatever. But whenever I got your cards, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so connected to what we do. And you'd be a perfect fit. And this card deck has been so awesome. When you did come through the training in October, we used them as part of the training at meals and enjoyed some really nice conversations from that. And then I've used them personally a lot with my family, with friends, and most recently, during all of this, leading lunchtime virtual lunches and cocktail hours with the GoBundance Women's group that I'm a part of. So tell us a little bit more about how these came about. And let's just start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So my career has been spent in human development for all of it, whether it's been doing, strategic planning or executive coaching or organizational consulting. I was a psychotherapist for a number of years ago. And so I've always worked on human change my whole career. And so a number of years ago, I started to ask myself, what are the commonalities of change making, regardless of what the problem is? And, I thought about all these thousands of clients that I've worked with, from folks that barely able to get their human needs met to, high performing executives that are trying to optimize the culture of their company, and really everybody in between, those of us that go through natural life transition, birth, death, addiction, moving, and all sorts of regular transition stuff. And landed on these 7 core predictors of successful change making. And realize that they always show up, no matter what the change is, no matter what it is that we want to create in our life. It really comes down to these 7 core areas of our life that are the influencers of our success. And so the card deck takes these 7 areas and asks 7 questions per area so that we can optimize outcomes within each of the 7. And when the coronavirus hit, so I have the physical card deck, which you just held up. And when the coronavirus hit, I started to ask myself, like, how can I create a virtual version of this? And so that's what I did. So
I was knocking your door down. I was like, Michael,
you were.
I need a virtual version of this tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you were. And I so appreciate that. I so appreciate it. It was great. It was great enthusiasm. So I appreciate the kick in the butt there.
Yeah. And you got it done. And so keep going.
Well, so the virtual deck it's a little bit of a teaser. So the full deck has 49 questions. This one has a handful from each of the 7 parts of our life. So it gives you a little bit of a teaser, but it's enough of a tool that you can facilitate, like Adair said, whether it's a team meeting or it's a group of people that are meeting in an organization, or it's a family dinner, or it's maybe at a virtual summit on a conference, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
you can use this, and there's enough questions in it to support these generative conversations like we discussed in the beginning of this live, so that we can really have like really engaging and productive meetings with each other. And so if you're up for it, Adair, we could play with a couple of the questions now.
Yeah, let's talk about the categories just really quick.
Sure.
So we have cognition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to expand on these.
Sure. Cognition's just what we tend to focus on, where our mind tends to go. Are we doom and gloom, or are we opportunistic and abundant oriented?
Nice. Depends on the day. Depends on the moment. Hearts. That one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. Our emotional self. How much are we giving it attention, or how much are we ignoring it?
Action.
Habits and routines, daily, monthly, weekly, yearly.
Nice. Nourishment.
Our physical experience, how we eat, move, sleep, for instance, how much sunlight we get, things like that.
Guts.
Level of courage to act upon our values and our core truth.
Love that. Environment.
People, places, and things that we surround ourselves with.
Love it. And last one, spirit.
Our belief system, small beliefs and big beliefs.
Awesome. All right. So let's ask each other a couple questions.
Yeah.
Do you want to pull up do you want to share the virtual version, or shall we pick one of these, or how do you want to do that?
Let's do the virtual, because I'll tell you what, if you stay to the end, the gift is going to be this virtual deck. So if you stay to the end, we'll give you that. And is it cool if I do a screen share?
Yeah, sure. Let's see what happens on the live when you do a screen share, because I'm not sure I've ever done this before.
I am also curious.
I've never done this before. What I'm saying, I'm not sure. I've definitely never done it before.
All right, let's see here. Oops, let's see. Yep. Boom. Okay, so can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. I'm curious.
Can you go to Facebook? You see if anybody on Facebook is seeing this, give us a.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
you
popping.
Can see it? Sweet. All right.
I think, yep, it's popping.
All right, cool. Y'all, here we go. So this is just the cover. Slide 2 is a little intro video, which essentially I just gave you, and Adair introduced the card, so you can skip that. You have access to it in the future. A little intro about the deck. So here's where we start. So this is one of many activities you could do with this, and this is what you and I can do, Adair, in front of folks. Cool. And again, people, if you're watching, drop questions if you have them. We'll answer them.
Yeah.
So this is how to create really engaging virtual meetings in 3 easy steps. And so step number 1 is just to choose a category that sparks your curiosity and a number within each category. So Adair, why don't you go ahead and choose a category that sparks your curiosity?
Guts.
All right. So guts. So we're here. So you're going to choose a number between 26 and 29.
28.
Okay, 28. So then step 2 is go to the slide that corresponds to that number. So then we just click on the slides here. We scroll down to 28. Boom.
Look at that.
And there's our question.
Oh, no pressure. All right. So
I'm going to stop the share just so we can see each other. So the question is, what's a risk that you will take this week?
I don't like being put on the spot like this.
I love it. This is so fun.
Before we do this, I want to say something that's coming to mind.
Yeah, please.
Use these cards.
Yep.
The purpose of these cards I have found is, let's say you have, 6-8 people on one Zoom, or you've got a large number and you're going to maybe put them in breakouts to do the questions, which is another option.
Yep.
It's really important that everybody answers the question without a lot of dialogue in between, because what we're doing is we're creating psychological safety and equal voices so that the conversation can flow, can go deeper, so everybody feels like a contributor, because we have introverts, we have extroverts, we have people who would, like me, who would talk the entire time. Mm-hmm. You've got other people that are more hesitant to speak up. So I just want to say that. I think I just said all of that so I could avoid answering your question.
No, it's such a great reminder. And again, if you're here and you're watching this and you use this deck as a tool, that's like a critical component. What Adair just said, that is like a necessary element. I'm glad you said it's actually making me think I should add that to the instructions on the activity.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really important after having led several of these virtually. People don't necessarily understand that. We take that for granted because we facilitate. That's our, that's our world.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you have to answer this question too.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Oh, sure. I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to say.
You need some time.
I do. Buy me some time. I love it.
All right. Well, it's a small risk. Let's see. It's a small risk. So one of the things that I know I need to do, and I don't do enough, is do more of this, more of live video, and more video in general. And for whatever reason, I'm insecure about it. And so one of the commitments I made this week was to do a live solo live cast tomorrow, which there's something, I mean, we're friends, so this is super comfortable.
Yeah.
And being in front, like with someone, is also more comfortable. Something about doing it alone is less comfortable. And so tomorrow at,
tell us when.
I'll tell you. Let's see. It's going to be on Instagram, which will probably stream to Facebook as well, but it's going to be at 1:00, 1 Eastern tomorrow, Instagram live. And
what are you talking about?
I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this virtual tool and doing and disrupting crappy virtual meetings.
Yeah. I got a note from someone that I think when I posted the live saying we were going to do this, saying like, someone literally saying like, I'm so frustrated with the Zooms because everyone I've been on, it's been either dominated by certain people or there are people that didn't talk or people were talking over each other. So
yeah, totally. It's necessary.
And by laying the foundation of everyone answering, then you open up a place for people to really feel good and have good conversation.
I love that. And I'll buy you some more time, and I'll add an element to that from our friend, Jeff Bowman. We were talking to him this morning about an activity he called the, what did he call that? Pass the baton, which is that same element of what Adair just said around, you're having one voice in the room at a time. In addition to that, you're having each person offer an appreciation. So like if Adair went, she would say, okay, Michael, you're up next. And I would say before I went something I appreciated about what Adair said. And then I would share mine, and then I'd pass it to Bill, and he would say something he appreciated about what I said. And so you pass it around that way. So it keeps people on their toes, and it keeps them listening to each other, and it keeps one voice in the room at a time. So it's, again, another ninja facilitation move.
Oh, I like that. Well, pass the baton to me.
Okay, wait. Okay, so Adair,
just pass it, because I'm gonna demonstrate what we just did. All right, I got the baton. So Michael, first I want to acknowledge you for what you just shared about sharing on your Instagram tomorrow and taking that risk. That I would disagree. I don't think it's a small risk. I think it's a big risk. And if it's something that makes you nervous, then own that. And I just want to give you a pat on the back for going out of your comfort zone. So cool. There you go. We just demoed the pass the baton. Now I have to tell you what my risk is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
There's the drum roll.
The risk that I'm going to take this week. I do not have a specific incident to do this. However, I am going to speak up or speak a truth whenever I feel a drive to do so. I've been honoring that more. In fact, you pointed that out to me yesterday, and I appreciated that. Yeah. And so I'm just going to honor that in myself, that when I want to speak up, that I speak up and speak my truth.
Love it. And for those of you that don't know, I think it's appreciation back to you. I think Adair is really great at that. And when she does it, it's clear and it's confident, and it's well communicated. So I love that you're going to do more of it.
Thanks. Well, what you don't know is that on the inside, I'm totally reeling and going, what am I doing? Oh my gosh. Oh my, what am I going to think? This is awful.
Totally.
So thank you. And what you don't know is what's happening in my internal world sometimes is insane.
Totally. Yeah. It's so wild how we can have those different internal, external experiences and and perceptions, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Trip.
totally.
It's a
Totally.
trip. Hey, do you want to do one other
Let's
question?
let's do one more and then we'll give away the gift.
Cool. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna
Why
do
don't you pick the
this.
category this time
I will. I'm gonna pull it
and the
up.
number?
And,
You don't have
okay.
them memorized, do you?
No.
Okay.
I did.
Just
I did.
checking.
I did write them all, but I don't have them. Let's
You
see.
don't know which one's on which slide.
I don't. Where's
Okay.
is this it? Maybe this is it. Screen sharing is failed to start. No, that's not what I want. It's not allowing me to pull up the
deck?
Yeah, that's weird. All right, let's try this again. Share. There we go. Got it. Sorry.
No worries.
Techno error on my part. All right, let's go back. We're going to go to the instructions. We're going to share it out. Oops, not that. We're going to go present. And again, I'm doing it this way for those folks that are watching, just so you can see how it's done, so you can replicate it. So I just went to the deck, put it in presentation mode, which allows you to kind of move around the slides with ease. And again, so the activity is simple. You go to the category that sparks curiosity or interest.
What's on your heart today?
Spirit draws me in.
All right.
And so 36 to 39, I'll go 38. So I go down here and I go to 38. What belief have you held from childhood that you have yet to challenge? Ooh.
This is a head scratcher. And I know what you're going to say. I have to go first. No, I don't know what you're going to answer. I just know you're going to be like, Adair, you're going first.
I was like, oh shit, you know me better than I thought. You know my childhood beliefs?
Let's see. Maybe I do. We have had some mind meld lately in all this virtual facilitation.
No doubt.
Oh my gosh. A belief from childhood that I haven't challenged. Is that right?
Yeah. That you have yet to challenge. Yeah. Let's see. I want to see if there's any questions coming in that might buy us a little time here. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I actually have one.
You got one?
Came to mind. Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is and it's kind of crazy, but this is again just speaking what's coming up. That people who are older than me know what's better for me.
Oh, I love this. Let's
give each other a big high five.
Yes. Boom. And I'm selfishly appreciating that you helped me think of mine.
Oh, sweet. Okay. What's yours?
No, I love that. So mine is, and I just had this realization in the last, I guess now that I'm saying it, it's one that I recently challenged. Let's say it's
okay.
Because it's pretty fresh.
It's fresh, yeah.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I thought I had this belief around like age and insight and accomplishment, right? And one of the disruptions that's happened just in the last handful of months or a year, I've met so many people that are so much younger than me that I've just been so blown away by their level of insight and understanding in the world and success and emotional intelligence. And so, yeah, this idea of age and accomplishment and role kind of in both directions is pretty irrelevant, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the thing that comes up in both of those for me is we are taught to value linear time and to be in a world of Newtonian physics of cause and effect. And we discount the quantum reality of the world. And we also discount the spiritual possibility. And this is something I believe in, of having multiple lifetimes and having innate wisdom that you cannot explain from education or from life experience.
Yeah, I love that. And I hold the same belief. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So this card deck is not for the faint of heart.
That's right. Yeah. Everybody's going to be thinking, what kind of questions? No. So go ahead.
So it's so good for this time. And I'll never forget. And I texted Michael after this. Me and my mom and my stepdad and my daughters went out to dinner, and it was like a pretty shitty dining experience. Like we had to wait forever. The food was horrible. The service was horrible, but we got out. Had these in my purse and we got them out. And I learned so much about my mom and my stepdad by asking them these questions that we probably never would have gotten into a conversation about. So it's good stuff. And it's meaningful during this time.
It is
more than ever.
It is. And it's so important. And if you're thinking like, how might some of these deep questions, and they're not all that profound. Some of them are simpler. But many are a little deeper and complicated. But if you're asking yourself, why might that be important in the context of a business or a team or an organization, I can tell you with very, very high confidence that the more strong our relationships are in any human system, the more effective and creative and innovative we become. And all the research supports that, and so just know that if you are looking for a way to optimize a meeting, a conference, an event of sorts, a strategic planning event, or any kind of business orientation, or a family dinner, like Adair said, these questions will serve you well. So I can promise you that.
Yeah. Awesome. So you got to tell us what the gift is.
Yeah. So the gift is this virtual deck, which you can find, and we'll drop the link to it in the live, but if you just go to virtualchanges.com, you can have it for free. And the deal is given the time that we're in, I had the thinking around, do I charge for it? Do I create an opt-in to collect emails? What do I do? And for now, none of that is required. It's a free gift for anybody that goes to the website. And so I can't promise it'll always be that way. But for now, all you have to do is go to virtualchanges.com and you can put it to work right away.
That is awesome. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give the listeners who made it all the way to the very end, even if they're just watching the recording, I'm going to give you guys your question for today from the card deck.
Love that.
And then you can either put your answer in the chat or just, maybe ponder it in writing with yourself or on a walk, or have the conversation at the dinner table tonight.
That's beautiful.
All right. So here's the question. It's in the cognition category. And it is, what is a story you have had about yourself that you've changed? So that is your question to ponder for the rest of the day, or in conversation, maybe over dinner. And here we are. Thank you,
awesome.
Michael.
This was so much fun, Adair.
It was so much fun. Great. We always have a good time together. It's easy conversation, and Morning Light Show community, you're not going to want to miss this card deck, and I'm sure Michael would love to hear, and I would also love to hear if you use the cards, how you use them, what kind of results you got, that type of thing, because I know they're an amazing tool.
That'd be great. Awesome. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you again soon, probably like in an hour or so when we have another call.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Be well.